Welcome to Talk for 30, a platform for individuals to share their life stories, passions, and journey with us. Today, we have a very special guest, a friend, a co-worker, Consuela. Please introduce yourself and tell everyone about you, who you are, and about your business.
Well, my name is Consuella Carter. For those who may not know me, I am the owner and the instructional coordinator for CC Educational Training Services, LLC. Yes, have to make sure I add that in. We are legitimate with the state of Georgia, and I just love what I do. We are a professional development company, and I travel across Georgia, South Carolina, anywhere that is in driving distance that will have me, because I don't want to fly. I don't want, all of the extra traveling. But anywhere that says, hey, we need to better our staff while also bettering our communities. What can you offer for us?
All right, let's talk about life before CC Educational Training. Share about your past work experience.
Ooh, life before the journey of starting my small business. It was a journey. I think I can relate that to my logo. My logo is a butterfly. The wings of the butterfly are the CC. So I feel like this has really been a journey of me being that little caterpillar crawling around, not really focused, thinking that I'm focused. And so I was a pre-K teacher, in executive positions, just doing different things, even worked in the restaurant industry, but everything that I was doing was for the glory of man. It was for the glory of a supervisor, the glory of the paycheck. And then things begin to change. When you start recognizing the gifts that you bring to the table and understanding, wow, they are capitalizing off of my gifts. If I work 65-hour work weeks, but my salary is based upon 40, I'm not getting paid for the extra hours that I work. So I've now become a what? Slave. So if I'm going to slave, let me do it for myself and take those gifts and build my brand, my business, and represent who I am as first a woman of God and then as a professional woman in this industry.
Now, being a teacher, what do you think has impacted you that you utilize now as being the CEO of your brand?
Children with exceptionalities. I think they're so misunderstood by teachers, administration, even sometimes their parents may think they understand, and there's a disconnect in what the parent, the caregiver, the teachers may want from the child based upon what the child can actually give. And so as a teacher, I couldn't really fully understand everything, but then going from teacher into an executive position over youth services programs, you begin to hear the frustrations from the parents, the caregivers, the teachers. And so that is in here, Inclusive Learning Series, that's where that came from. Let's have transitions. Let's look at different programs, different strategies that can help these children that have exceptionalities, so that we're not triggering them. Sometimes it's our behavior that causes the negative behavior from those children that have those exceptionalities.
And then I also think it's a great thing too, being that you have the education behind you, educator experience behind you, that you're able to implement that with your professional development, because you know how it feels to be in that teacher position.
Yes.
So I do think that's a beneficial thing to have as well. What inspired you to work in this industry? Professional development.
When I was a teacher in the classroom, I would have assistants and sometimes directors that didn't understand the concepts that our specialists were bringing into the classroom with our children that had exceptionalities. We had behavioral specialists that would come in and they would do certain activities with those children, pulling them to the side. And so I watched those specialists with the children. And so I started incorporating those strategies. And of course, that's part of the IEP. The teacher should incorporate those strategies. And many times they didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. The child who didn't want to stay in circle time, I would say, okay, if you want to go and read a book, you want to go over and do puzzles, okay, that's fine. And I began to see there's again a disconnect. And it's not on purpose, it's just that many times people don't understand. And so I said, if I can bring this to the forefront, but then also offer classes affordable, relevant, that's what I do, that can bring this awareness, then let's do it.
With professional development, and I love to hear your thoughts on this, is that a lot of times directors and facilities, they plan trainings, but they're not doing it on an individual basis or needs, like meeting the needs of your students. Certain teachers need certain trainings, to make them more proficient and build their craft and skills. And I think a lot of times when directors or facilities are planning training, they're thinking about the whole group. And they don't always think about a person individually, because if you and I were teachers, it could be that you need more help with behavior issues, and I might need more help with language skills or building something with language skills. And so I feel like if they make it more based off the teacher's needs, like you meet the children's needs, then I think that would be very beneficial to teachers.
And see, it's so beautiful that you just said that, because that is what we are about. Relationship-based professional learning company. That's who I am. That's what I represent. So before I even go into a center or school, I say, what are your needs? Think about your staff, and then tell me what your needs are.
Right. What are some challenges in your field?
I think when I go into the practice-based coaching and mentoring, sometimes you have a resistance from teachers. Many of them may feel, who are you to come in and give me this feedback? Who are you? That's always the main question, is who are you to do this? And so then when I'm in the classroom and I'm actually on the floor with them, they're like, oh, you're just not walking in here looking all cute with your little heels on. You're actually down here with your tennis shoes and you're doing whatever, and you're actually singing with the children. I worked with a program in South Carolina, and that was something that the early childhood providers told me. They said, you learn the children's names. Within 10-15 minutes of being in here, you learned my staff's names. You ate with them. You modeled the behavior in which you were seeking. And I think that's the key.
That is the key. That is the key, because children like and they adapt to genuine feelings. And then if you lead by an example, they're going to want to do what you do. They're going to want to follow your behavior. And the same thing for staff. When you're a CEO of a company and you start to recruit employees, you lead by example. You display the attitudes, the what you see them do. You display that physically and verbally for them, and then they will display it in return. But you have to lead by example. What are some of the benefits from working in this field?
Freedom. Freedom. Peace. I'm not a political person at all. I can play the game, but that doesn't mean I like the game. And being in this field, for me, I don't have to put on any face other than my own. And I love that. I don't have to go into a board meeting and bite my tongue, It's a peace truly beyond all understanding. It doesn't matter whether I make $1 or $1,000, there's still peace. And that's the beauty, that freedom and that peace.
Any regrets?
Oh, none at all.
We knew that answer.
None at all.
What is your goal for your business?
Right now, my focus, but I not only cater to professional development for early childhood programs. I also provide professional development for colleges, universities. I would like to be able to go into the restaurant industry and review those 10 basic server steps. Right now, customer service is everything. So I want to get into the service industry, not just restaurants. Let's look at the hotels, Walmart, the retail industry. You know, you go into a place and they're on their cell phone as they're ringing you up, and you think they're talking to you, and they say, "Oh, I'm not talking to you." It's just become a everyday.
I've noticed that.
So I want to get back to the basics, but being a former server and a restaurant manager, I want to go back to those 10 basic server steps. The hostess greeting you with a smile and not a frown. Not telling you, "Oh, your table's over there. Here are your menus. Walk over there."
Yeah.
Actually walking you to your table. Actually, the service industry and the restaurant industry is what actually helped me start this business, because I used to offer Saturday classes for our servers. And I would come in and do exactly what I'm doing now. Come in and train them on how to present themselves to their tables, just to enhance their natural skills. And so that's what I did. And look, everything is a step. If you're willing to take this step, keep going. You have no idea where you can go.
Yes.
Not end up. We don't end up. It's where you can continuously keep going.
I agree with you, and I'm going to elaborate on that as well. You don't question what you're doing, because I'm a firm believer in what you're doing is preparing you for the next step.
Yes.
And it all will add up.
Every day, even when it's painful, when those humbling experiences literally hurt you, don't stop. Don't say, "It's not my job. I'm not going to do this."
No.
You don't know what your job may be. And also, I've learned this: you don't know who's watching you. Because I have left positions and now have started my company, and I've had people that I didn't even know were watching say, "I want you to do what you were doing when you worked here or when you worked there." And I'm like, "How do you know what I was doing when I worked so and so?" And it's because they were taking notice.
Yes. I went through the same thing. Yes.
So it's amazing. Always stay humble. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what position you think you have. Stay humble during that process. And it just, and work. Work.
Anything worth having is worth the work.
Yes.
And it makes you appreciate it more, especially when it's yours. Let's talk about somebody we both know, Miss Brown. You said something that reminded me of her, Miss Brown. You know, Miss Brown. Yes,
Miss Marion Brown.
I still
from
say Miss
Augusta
Brown.
Technical College.
Yes. She doesn't know this, but she will now. But there's one thing that she told me that I always carry with me, and I often say it in my classes with the Nerd for Life. She told me, and I'll never forget this day. She said, she's all calm. You're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. But don't worry about it, because it's preparing you for the next step. I'm not even sure if she remembered that conversation. And that was years ago when I was a pre-K teacher. And that stuck with me, because in my mind for that moment, I was thinking, what she know? What does she know? Because I was doing a lot at that time. I'm not going to go there, but I was. And I was like, what does she know? But it wasn't that she knew something. Well, she did, but it wasn't what I was thinking.
Right.
And now that I look back on everything, she was preparing me for, what she said. It was all preparing me for where I am now.
Do you know how great Miss Marion Brown.
Yes, I'm so
From
grateful.
Augusta Technical College. She was our early childhood instructor and would always tell us, you will see this again. What an impact she has had. I don't know about in any other city or state which impact she has had, but in the city of Augusta, Georgia, Miss Marion Brown.
I wonder if she actually knows, because
She knows now, honey.
very impactful, and I promise I am always bringing that same quote back up, because she was right.
She told us to keep whatever you make sure you keep whatever you make. I graduated in, I think, 2003 or 3, I
so
think.
long ago.
And I still have things that I made because guess what? I use them now in my training sessions.
She was very impactful. And Marion Brown,
Yes.
I just want you to know that I am forever grateful for you for so many reasons. So many reasons.
Her and Miss Valda Mills, who is now Mrs. Valda Simpkins, were amazing. Amazing.
And just like Miss Marion Brown, as educators, you know, we impact a lot of people. And I don't think a lot of teachers realize you can impact someone for the rest of their lives. The best gift for me is not the paychecks. The thought of those children growing up, graduating from high school, and sending you an invitation, and you started their educational journey, and they still remember you. And when they see you and hug you like they're 4 still, but they're 18,
Right.
that is the best feeling. That's my reward, because then I say, I did my job. That's what we have in common, the Georgia Pre-K. All right, let's talk about social media. What role does social media play with your marketing?
I think social media can be an excellent tool, and then it cannot be. And I say that because that's what I really use it for, is to market, telling upcoming sessions. But then I think, and I hear this from some other small business owners. They say sometimes social media makes them feel inadequate. This person is doing this, and I'm still over here struggling to do this. So sometimes social media can tear you apart. And I always tell people, someone else's journey isn't your journey, so you cannot compare.
No.
When you play that comparison game, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because when they're posting things, they're posting it for the public to see, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I have done. And you shouldn't look at it as, I'm not doing this.
Right.
Just do you. That's my whole thing. Do you. Find your niche.
Yes.
And use social media for what it's for. Put your business out there in the public's eye. Tell people what you're doing or what you have done. And then leave it there. Don't internalize someone else's success as your failure.
No.
And that's the mistake that we make. And then in comes the envy.
Yeah, lots of that. But I always tell everyone, what's meant for you is going to be for you. We could be in the same industry. I could do professional development. But people come to you for whatever reason you provide. They come to me for whatever reason I provide. But the thing is, we both can be successful. There's no need to be envious. That is the problem. We need more networking in this area.
That's true. But I think also when it comes to networking, again, you may get those that compare. I really feel that it takes a cleansing, a personal cleansing of I'm not less than in the first place, to see that. There have been times where I want to collaborate with other people, but for whatever reason, they don't want to. So be it.
That's just it.
I'm living in my niche.
And you know what? Because they didn't collaborate with you, it probably was a good thing.
And that's how I look at it. Everything, it works out. And so I'm fine with that.
You know, people look at it like, okay, she's doing it and she's getting all these people. Why am I not getting them? You can't worry about what the next
Right.
person's doing. You got to figure out what you do and how can you connect, because you might have something that so many people are going to be attracted to that she does not display. So you have to worry about yourself. And I understand what you're saying, because one of the things that I have noticed is a big conversation on popularity on social media. And that could be either or. Does it affect your business as far as marketing go? It could if you're looking for likes, or views, but customers, services, people coming to you, that's gonna go off what you give and what you provide. Word of mouth. Social media can contribute to that, yes. But again, it's gonna fall back on what services you provide and the customer service you provide.
Right. I'm not an influencer, so I don't post on Instagram every hour or Facebook and the other. I don't even know what the other platform. Oh, Twitter. I'm
much about
a
Twitter.
business owner that offers professional development courses and consulting, coaching, but I'm not an influencer.
So how do you market?
I'm gonna be honest with you. One of my best, the number one, has been word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. If people are asking you for a service and you give them that service and you do it to the best of your ability on what they want, you deliver. One, that's repeat business. Two, they're gonna tell someone else. And one of the things that I hear all the time is two things. Girl, you are funny. That's the first thing. And I don't even try to be funny. And the second one is, you know where we're coming from. Because I've been in leadership.
You've been in that situation.
And then I've been in the classroom. And so they say, you know where we're coming from. I feel the pain. I laugh at our pain. But we get down and dirty together. I just don't say, here's the tools. Here, figure out how to use them. No, I say, here's the tools. Let's work this out together. So during many of my sessions, they're completing puzzles. We're playing with Play-Doh. How can I tell you how to use these tools if I don't show you?
Do you think that came from your technical college experience, being hands-on?
Yes.
Yeah. Because when you graduate, you've got the knowledge behind you. But then when you're pushed out there and you have to go to that classroom, trust me, what was in that book is not how it's going to work in that classroom.
Right.
But without that experience, you don't know that. So it could be a shock.
Yeah, I taught at Millermont in their early childhood program, and that's something that now they're a 2-year college as well.
Okay.
They're not a technical college, but they're a 2-year college, and there's one in Augusta on Deansbridge, and that's something that they encourage.
Good. I like that.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. I just feel that it's so important because it's kind of like the saying, you throw someone to wolves. You don't want to do that.
Right.
And you want people to, when they get in there, especially if it's a passion of theirs. Because let's just say someone always wanted to be a teacher, got a passion for kids, went to school, got their degree, get a job as soon as they graduate, go into a classroom. And this just happens to be a classroom where they have some children with some extra energy.
Right.
That can be a shock to them because they're not going to know and have that experience of what to do and how to apply their skills. They might have it, but they haven't had that additional professional training yet, or that experience personal. You do it, you get in the classroom, but you're not left there to do the planning, deal with the behavior,
clean the kitchen,
cook the lunch.
Yes, they had us on rotation. Yes.
So I just think that would be beneficial because I don't want people to graduate with that passion, because they may be that person, that teacher, like Ms. Brown. And, because they were put out there, it kind of shocked them and then they deter from that,
Right.
Because it can happen. It can happen. Let's talk about your family. How long have you been married?
Let's see now. 50 plus years? No. 16 years this year.
How many children do you have?
3.
And grandkids?
3.
What do you enjoy most doing with them?
Giving them back after I spoil them.
She's kidding.
Oh no. I get to play with them. I get to love them. But I think one of the most beautiful things about raising children, and I said raising children, not having children, but raising children is when they have their children and you don't have to be the parent.
Gotcha.
So you can get them, you can do activities. I have 2 that live here in Augusta and 1 that lives in Indiana. And the 2 that live here in Augusta, I get them 3-4 times a week if I can. And we still don't get enough of each other, but we're playing Candyland, we're playing bingo, we're having fun. And then I can say, oh, time to go home. I'm getting tired. I can do that.
Okay.
I don't have to be the parent. I'm the supplement, like a vitamin. So yeah, I enjoy
I
that.
heard it's a great feeling being a grandparent.
It is.
How do you handle family life, being the CEO of your brand, and finding time to relax?
Naps.
You like to
Naps.
take naps?
Naps are essential to my well-being and the well-being of those around me. Everyone knows I love my naps. I have friends that'll call me at 2 o'clock and say, oh, I forgot this is your nap time.
Oh, wow. I don't get naps. I don't take naps like that. What do people misunderstand most about you?
The journey is not easy. And people say, oh, you're so organized, or you're so, everything is lined up. But what they don't understand is I'm forgetful. I'm disorganized. So knowing those things about myself, I make sure that I'm organized. Everything is set up. I plan ahead. I try not to procrastinate, and I get things done because I know that I'm not that organized person.
Okay.
So I think that knowing yourself is the key to success within anything that you do. And then when you know your weaknesses, you zone in on those weaknesses and you do your best to become better.
Okay. When we talk about relaxing and reflection, tell me, what do you do besides naps? Is there a place that you like to go to relax or vacation, just to get away?
My house.
You like being home?
Because your home is your sanctuary. And that's where I have my peace. I can sit with my husband. We don't have to go to a restaurant. We don't have to go away to a fancy vacation. Our home is our sanctuary. And so I'm so used to being around him, just him and I, or the kids or other family members in our home, that we went and visited some other family and we sat on the couch and I put my feet up on him like we're at home. And he didn't think anything of it either. And I saw how they looked and I says, oh wow, we're so used to just being around one another. Yes, that comes natural. So that's natural. I love it. That's why I pay my mortgage and my bills. I want to get the most out of that.
Home. For me, I like to go to the beach, any water, any environment with water. For something it just cleanses me.
See, the beach doesn't give me enough shade, and I don't like the heat. I'm just.
What are some things that Consuela never leaves home without?
My cell phone.
Of course.
That's it. I'm not a have to have my mascara or lipstick or just my cell phone.
Your cell phone. Yeah, for me, definitely the phones. Definitely. What is the hardest thing you ever had to do?
That's a good question. What is the hardest thing I've ever had to do? Some people would say firing someone. No, the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, being humble. It just popped in my head. Being humble. And when I say being humble, that means the other piece of being humbled, of course, humbling yourself, but then seeing others as superior to you. And in work environments, we encounter people. It's difficult to see them as superior to us. We struggle with trying to see, what do they do better than me? This is a person who you may not see value in, but it's difficult trying to find that value, so that being that woman of God, that you don't belittle another person. And I think that that's one of the hardest things for me, was then struggling with treating everyone with respect. I can be a aggressive person. I can be overbearing. And so you can hurt people's feelings. And realizing that, wow, I could have a really negative impact on someone's life. I need to change this. So I think that's the hardest thing, is humbling myself so that I don't continuously hurt others.
Like that. What is the most important lesson that you've learned starting your business?
That God is in control. I don't control anything. It's all Him. Honey, don't you go chasing a dollar. You put your marketing out there and let it be. But don't you take on a job, on an offer for money, and it compromises your integrity. Let it be. The money will come.
And it's not your timing. It's His timing, on His time. Yes. If you could start this journey over, is there anything you would change? Adulthood, as far as your professional?
No, because I think everything is a learning experience. And I never regret anything, because it's a learning experience. And I will say this to people: always speak your truth. If you feel that someone has hurt you in some sort of way on a job and in any focus of your life, speak that truth, because like I said, many times people don't know that they've offended you, that they have hurt you, unless you tell them. And so I think that's really a key piece.
If someone wrote a book about Consuella today, what would be the title of your book? And I ask everyone this because...
Read this, you will not sleep.
That's a bold title.
Read this, you will not sleep. You won't. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, but you won't sleep.
Full of emotion. All right. Let's talk about the mission and your vision for your brand. Share with me.
Okay, when I started this, it was a whole journey, and I didn't want to just offer training courses. You know, I'm a trainer. I did not want that stigma on me of just being a trainer. I wanted professional development with personal attachment, and so I wanted it to be relevant, which meant I wanted it to be research based. Then I wanted it to be affordable. At that time, I started 2015. At that time, your early childhood educators, your caregivers that are in the classroom, were making $7.25 to maybe, if they're lucky, $10 an hour, maybe, and we know that's a big maybe. So the state says they have to have 10 hours, 18 hours if they're quality rated. That came later, but 10 hours, and this is mandatory for them to keep their jobs. And so, how, if I'm making $7.25, how can I afford classes? And if they're online, but I'm not computer literate, how can I get online and complete these classes? Even if they are free, how can I get online and do this? So that was my main thing. And then it became, oh, you're just doing classes in the hood of Augusta. So I said, well, what is the hood? So that was another thing. You're just doing classes in the hood. Okay. So then I thought about that. There's equity that is needed. If they're getting these different sessions over in, I guess you could say, Columbia County, whatever the case may be, but then you're looking at, let's take Richmond County, and they need the same classes, but it's not affordable. They want the same knowledge, but it's not affordable.
Right.
Give me the hood. If that's what you want to say, give me the hood. Let's go ahead and get the hood with their CDAs. Let's go ahead and get them their hours. Let's go ahead and sit down and show them how to complete lesson plans. So that's my passion. If you want to call it the hood, so be it. But the hood is where I started. I created flyers. I'm not a people person. I'm highly shy. I don't really like to talk. People don't believe that. People don't believe that. I'm an introvert. I told you I like to stay at home. So I would wait until the child care centers closed. And I would put the flyer on the child care center. I would tape it, and he was my driver. And we would tag the child care business. And then I would contact them a day or so later and say, hey, did you get my flyer? You're the young lady that left that flyer. So, true story, Miss Kathy. We all know Miss Kathy in Augusta, Georgia. She was my very first center. And she said to me, anyone that's going around putting these flyers on somebody's businesses, I said, she got to work. I'm going to give her a try. And she has been with me since then.
Miss Kathy.
Yes.
Miss Kathy.
A Child's Dream, Miss Christine. Yes. ABC Daycare. Yes. Miss Heather Todd, the family industry. Yes. Yes.
Speaking of Miss Kathy and ABC, I have reached out to you from A Nerve for Life. I'm waiting to hear from you. I know that your classes are Bright from the Start approved.
Yes.
Would you like to share information about that?
Bright from the Start. I am a Bright from the Start approved trainer, and also with South Carolina, I'm a certified trainer. And with the state of Georgia's Bright from the Start, which is their licensing agency, my company is also an approved sponsor organization, which means if you wanted to do sessions under my company, then you could come in and you could do those. And it is wonderful that Bright from the Start would offer that to small businesses, independent contractors, to be able to do that. Because it's usually, state other state organizations, technical colleges that they offer that to, but that was awesome. And of course it was a process to go through. The first, because you have to submit an application and answer questions about quality assurance and just different, in your organization's organization chart. And so the first time I submitted it, it was denied.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let me go through this slowly, carefully, read everything, and resubmit. If I don't get it this time, then I know there's some things I need to work on. The second time I was approved. So each year you have to have approval.
You have to, every year. Is it usually the beginning of the year or just your anniversary?
Your anniversary.
Okay. That's good. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It's all God-given.
There is no limit.
All God-given.
You have to dream and dream big. And I'll talk about that in a second, but only you can make that happen, So don't ever set yourself up for, this is where I should be. Because you can always move up. But it is up to you to make that decision and you to put in the work. But it can be done. You provide so many classes and opportunities. Can you share more about some of the classes, if not, that you offer?
Sure. I think one of the ones that I enjoy, and I'm laughing because it brings out so many different personalities in this course. And when I tell you the title, you'll understand why.
Okay.
Identifying and overcoming behaviors that prohibit teamwork in the workplace. So we identify the behaviors, and then how do we overcome them? But it's not about your coworkers. It's a mirror to yourself. What do I need to work on? So you identify the behaviors within yourself, and then how do you overcome them? which is key because so many times this is what we do. We say, oh, she gets on my nerves. Oh, he gets on my nerves. Look at him. Look at her. But we never understand that the problem begins with ourselves. And so that's one of my favorites. And then, of course, our inclusion series. And that focuses on dual language learners and children with exceptionalities. Many times, educators may think that a child that lacks the proficiency in English, that there's something wrong, as they say. What's wrong with this child? But I always put them in the shoes of that family, of that child. Let's say you're new to Japan, and you walk into a classroom and they're telling you what to do, and you see the other children, and you're like, I don't know what to do. There's not anything wrong with that child.
Right.
You just need the tools, and so that's where I come in. I give them those tools. Let's use some strategies. Have them partner with another child. Give them a buddy. Wouldn't you love a buddy if you're that person that's new in that classroom, going to a foreign country? You need a buddy. So I give them those strategies.
Okay. You're meeting the needs again. Very important. Not only to the students, but to the teachers as well.
And so for the college aspect of it, many times enrollment is down. They want their retention numbers. And so that is something that I go in and I do for the faculty. How to retain students. And so it's once again, it goes back to the foundation of early childhood practices. Do you make them feel welcome? Are you smiling? Do you treat them like they're just a number?
Yes.
I love what I do.
I see.
I am so thankful.
I see. It is definitely displayed.
Because it's nothing that I do. This is all God given, and sometimes I just sit back and I'm just so amazed. I'm like, wow.
I'm so proud.
Thank you.
I'm so proud. We definitely can see your passion behind it.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
All right, we're going to do another little quick question, just to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
If you had a whole day where you could do anything you wanted, what would you do and who would you do it with?
My grands and my husband, we would go to the zoo. That's one of our favorite spots.
What do you love about the zoo? The animals? Just
the animals.
Yeah, I'm an animal lover too. Do you have any pets?
Yes.
What do you have? Oh.
I think we have 6 or 7 dogs now because one of the
Somebody beat me in numbers.
Because we just had one that had puppies.
Okay, so that explains. Okay, before the puppies, how many?
3.
That's how many I have. What kind of animals do you have?
They're all they're dogs, and they are all something or another.
Okay.
So they're not purebred.
Okay.
But they are beautiful, and I don't like small dogs.
So they're big.
I am a person that everything in my life has to have a purpose.
Okay.
And so if I have a pet and I'm feeding you and I'm spending money on you, you must have a purpose. You can't just be cute and fluffy and just sit on my lap. I mean, what's your purpose?
Okay.
So I love protective. Those dogs that protect the house, they protect you. No one's gonna walk up on you because they're like, this is mine. No one walks in the yard. So those are the dogs I like.
That explains it. I have 3 as well, but I'm the opposite. I like the small ones.
No, you gotta have a purpose.
We do have a standard poodle. So we have one big one. He's the baby, but he's the biggest. What is one lesson this entrepreneurship experience has taught you that everyone should know?
Ooh, honey, you better know how to budget.
Budgeting.
And you better not have champagne taste and living on a beer budget. Because you are going to go broke. Yes. And you need to understand what matters. Bills come before a Louis Vuitton purse.
Priorities.
And social media is not who you need to try to impress and please. Numbers say everything. and become legit. And that means make sure that you're not just out here running around saying, I got a small business, and then I say, here's a job for you. And then they call me and say, hey, I thought you told me this person was a small business owner, and I say they are. No, I asked for their business license. They don't have a business license. So.
Oh, I'm a firm believer in that. I speak on that all the time because I do own another business, a Nerd for Success. And that's what we do, mentoring, getting people foundations set for starting up a business. And I say that it is so many people say, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I have a small business, but they don't have any paperwork.
Right.
And then you have some that are the opposite. They say, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. They have a business license that they went downtown and paid for.
Okay.
They have an LLC that they applied for, which is good, but there's no foundation.
Right.
They didn't do any planning, any studying. They just got the license, got the LLC for the name and the title, and then they say they doing business.
And then they post it on Facebook, I'm a boss lady.
Yes.
I'm not a boss lady.
But
I'm
guess
not.
what? Guess what, Consuela? When that storm comes through, just like building a house. When you build a house with bricks and you build a house with sticks, just like Three Little Pigs, and that storm comes through, what's going to happen to the house of sticks?
Right. It's done.
What's going to happen to the house of bricks?
Right. It stands. Yeah.
Same thing. You go out, you spend the money to get a business license, you go get that LLC, and you say you have a business. But when that storm comes through, there's no foundation for you.
Right. And you should also, this is another thing that, because you said what can they use, when it comes to your finances, you may make, say the month of September, you may make $10,000, and you may say, oh, I didn't pay my bills, I have $5,000 left over, we're about to take that trip, we're about to do this, we're about to do that, but then you don't make any more money for the rest. There's no other business coming in for the next, September, October, November, December, for the rest of the year, and then into, let's just say, March of the next year. And now you're like, what am I going to do? So the first thing you think is, oh, I need to get me a job. No, you need to have self-control.
Right, right.
And I would say if you do not have financial literacy, there are so many organizations that will help you. And the CSRA Business League, I say this all the time because I absolutely love him. Ellis Albright will help you. He will put you in touch with the right people. He will help you create a business plan. If you have an idea, he will actually sit down with you and talk with you through your ideas. If you're all over the place, he'll narrow you in and help you get focused.
And what's his name again?
Ellis Albright. They are people that want you to succeed, and they cater to minority business owners. And something that I was shocked is there are women out here that don't understand, you're a minority, hello, you're a minority. So yes, go and find these different places, network.
Network.
And not just be on social media saying, I'm a boss lady. But what are you bossing? You know? And I just think the time of being the boss is so 90s. That's just my opinion. It's so 90s. We're not boss ladies. You know what I'm saying? We've learned that actually the boss is not what you want to be. You want to be a leader.
A leader.
You want to be a
difference.
leader. Yes.
Big difference.
So we have to get out of that boss lady mentality. I know when I was in the restaurant industry, Beyonce had came out with, I think it's Diva. And we used to sing that song, I'm a diva, diva, that song, right? And it's not even about that anymore. It's about being the best version of yourself, to where you are displaying those behaviors that don't make people run from you, but you are actually bringing people into you, so that you're pouring into others the knowledge, the experience that you have to offer. Free of charge. I said free of charge. Because when you're nickel and diming people, are you really making money?
Right.
If I have to charge you for every little service that I offer to you, am I really making money?
You heard it.
That's just my opinion. I'm not a business expert. I'm just speaking from my opinion.
She's giving jewels. Talk for 30 is all about inspiring, motivating, and educating others. So I'm very happy that you're sharing this information. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Child's Dream is a local child care center in Augusta, and
Okay.
it gave us the nickname of the traveling trainer, which I love. They said, why we have to go to a building to get training? You just come to us. Hello. That's the part that I have forgot to tell you. So when I first started, there were childcare providers that, and I wasn't aware of this until I started going to the childcare centers. Many live close to their childcare center, and they walk to work or they get a ride.
Transportation.
Yes, so many of them, when they were having training sessions over, all across the state of Georgia, and they may even be in their city, even if they're 20, 30 minutes away, they still have to find a way to get there. So I would go into the center, and set up there.
Convenience.
Yes. And so they gave me the name, the Traveling Trainer. So you can find me when you schedule a session. You can find me in your organization, in your school, in your child care center. You can also find me on Facebook, CC Educational Training Services. I am on Twitter and Instagram. And that's the only social media that I do. I really don't even do Twitter.
Okay,
I'm so
I don't do
old.
Twitter. I don't do Twitter either.
But you
I don't know
what?
much about Twitter.
It's not that I'm also old. I also shoot those arrows precisely, not just shooting all over the place. So I see Facebook is the key. That's my arrow.
Gotcha.
I post my flyers. I post any events. That's my arrow.
That's your arrow. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't do much Twitter myself either.
Oh, and my website, CC Education, not educational, but cceducationservices.com.
And you see, she came prepared. She came prepared.
Alpha Graphics in Martinez, and also another small business owner, A Day's Creation. I love her. She's so wonderful.
All right. Contact Talk for 30, those individuals. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for your consistent support.
You are so welcome. And honey, you better do it. Do it. Talk for 30, not talk for dirty, with Drina.
We'll have to share what that means.
Hopefully she'll have me. Bye guys.
Let's talk for 30, 30, let's talk for 30. Let's talk for 30, let's talk for 30. Let's talk for 30, let's talk for 30. Drina.